2NL, play and explain on Pokerstars. Let's have some fun here. I've just fired up 2 games and we are going to play here for about 45 minutes and let's see if we can do some damage. Actually, this is just a bit of a trial run because I have had some people who said that they would like me to turn these into a bankroll challenge, the 2NL videos, to show that you can actually make some money and you can indeed build your bankroll. I am thinking of doing that. I have a very busy September, but maybe in October I might be doing that. And for now I have to concentrate a bit here on the right. We just bet and we have some showdown value, although not a lot. But then again, he could have called with a king of diamonds, queen of diamonds, something like that. But he had an ace, and I think I would have had to go quite big and quite aggressively there to get him off top pair, even though the the board came very wet, or actually monotone. Here I'm 3-betting pocket sevens in early position. I could fold. I definitely don't want to call after a raise, but it's fine to 3-bet. Obviously now we're getting cold 4-bet, and then the sevens are just an easy fold to a cold 4-bet. Pocket aces is a hand that we will want to raise. We get called, and this is not a good board for us, so we'll start with a check here. Because there is a cold caller, I will call my pocket nines. This is a better board for me, so now I'm just trying to get the money in. Oh, we flop a set here, which is quite nice. We do not have to go too big, and we don't have to raise, I mean. And here, do I want to, I definitely want to overbet this, something like this, so we can check. Here we got a snap call, and unfortunately the run out is not great, but I mean, not that I think that we'll be losing, but I'm just afraid that he will not call now. Yeah, no snap fold. So probably didn't have anything, which was a bit annoying there. But thing is, had I raised, okay, here ace 9 off for the min bet, just about a call. And if he doesn't bet big, I will have to call again, but he overbets, okay? So then we'll fold. I think overbet is fine there. Don't think it's a mistake. Unfortunately, we didn't get any action with the jacks on the right table. We have an open limp and another limp and another limp. So I'm just going to make this one 8 big blinds now with my ace queen suited. And put the guys to the test. We get one call. We have an awful, pretty awful board. And now this one is better. I think I can get him off some small pocket pairs, or a 5 or a 7. And we do indeed get it through. That is very good. Queen 8 suited, normally snap call, however, he made it 4x on the button. We're quite deep, no reason to get involved there with even a hand as strong as Queen 8 suited, which is actually not that strong. But yeah, I think a lot of players would make the mistake of thinking, yeah, I have to call there, Queen 8 suited is quite good. But just be price sensitive, you do not have to call there. Here, again, this is a passive fish. I do want to isolate him, but Ace 4 suited, is that really the hand? Okay, I can try it, but this is very close, because I do think that he actually has a better hand than me, but I do have position, and I do have the skill edge, hopefully. But now we got cold 4-bet, which means that I want to fold. Here I will definitely continuation bet with middle pair. We get called very quickly. No reason to bet again. But here I am going to bet. Here I'm going to check. And now he bets half pot. I'm definitely going to call here. He could have all sorts of things, and he's saying that, well, he's not saying that he has something big, but this is an overbluffed line. But obviously he hit he hit the 5 in the end, so he actually did have the flush draw. He just hit the 5, and still I think he shouldn't have bet there for half pot. I just got unlucky that he did river the 5. Here we have a tied player. However, I think I do want to 4-bet this one with king queen off. I think you could go either way. Wouldn't want to call. And now we are just continuing to barrel. And now when the flush comes in, I am going to bet again. This time about half pot. Let's go 28. Here we can just call, and we do get the fold here on the left table, which is excellent. That's the thing in these nitty games. Okay, this one is quite interesting, so I'm going to 3-bet here again. Here, this one is quite a big donk, where he shouldn't donk, but I do have second pair. It's quite good that king comes again, but he now goes really big. I'm not loving this spot, but I do have to call. And now we have 3 pair there. He checks, and I have to check and hope that he was just bluffing, which is exactly the case. So he donked with basically absolutely nothing with ace high there. Jack 7 suited. This is one of the rare completes from the small blind. We do have top pair. This guy will classify him as a non-crusher. We do have top pair. We would have called now with the ace. Our hand gets downgraded a lot, sadly. So I was thinking of leading out there, but top pair, mediocre kicker is not exactly the type of hand I want to put a lot of money in. So I went for pot control in a 4-way pot, and now this passive player bets half pot. I think I'm out now. This also I have another player to act behind me. There's not that much I can do. Pocket 8s we will obviously open. Ace 10 suited we will open. And not a great board. I am going to check this one. I think he'll play worse against my check than against a bet. And I will have to check again. No reason to put a lot of money into this pot, at least not voluntarily. If he forces me to, I will consider it. He now bets quite big. I will go for a call, but I think it wouldn't even be a big mistake to fold. And he did have a jack, okay, and he had the ace at the end. I was thinking of donking there and turning my hand into a bluff, but then the thing is, why did I call the turn if I then just donk the river as a bluff? Okay, this board is pretty good for me. Definitely going to c-bet it with top pair, top kicker. And we get a snap fold. King 6 off is not good enough to raise, but here we have King Jack off. We're getting a lot of calls here from the field today. The pool seems a bit weaker than normal. I'm going to 3-bet Queen Jack suited here, and on the left against 3 players, not much I can do. Okay, we get called by both players. This is a board that's not great for us, but I'm going to check raise this one in case someone decides to stab it. Well, okay, someone did stab it, but they jammed. We have to call 67 to win 103, so we have to be good about 30% of the time. That is just, is that 2 to 1, 33, 30%? Um, that's just about, I mean, if he does not, we could have, this is a very tricky one now. Don't really know what to do. Don't think he actually has something big. I'm gonna call this one. Yes, and we made the right call. But this is one I just needed to think it through, and we did win it because I just thought he wouldn't have a really big hand there to go that to just donk jam. Actually, no, sorry, it wasn't a donk, but it was a jam. And I just thought that it's better that I do have a good price, because even if you had a pair, which I thought might be the case, I would still have the outs to call. And yes, there was a player behind that also I took that into consideration. King high. Do we ever want to bluff catch in this spot? I think this is getting such good odds there as well, but it's most likely he will have something. I don't think he bets there so small with anything, but he might have just gotten me to fold the best hand. His king high doesn't look great, but he shouldn't bet there with ace high, although I'm never entirely sure in this pool. And on the right, he did have the king, unfortunately. But we're doing all right. Maybe I can declare this as the first video of my bankroll challenge. if we're continuing to do that well, we'll see about that. Okay, 6-3 suited. I'm just going to fold, even though we have a recreational player who limped there. Yes, and this game, it's basically the main thing is to just try to play solid fundamentals and have other players make the big mistakes. So here, this guy, for example, he called 3-bet on button. And sadly, we now have a 4-bet there, and against that one, we do have to fold. And this guy now jams. Okay, I can say with pocket jacks. He had king queen, same hand as me, but he is losing to a set of jacks. Okay. Okay, I will make a note here with jacks. A6 off might be a call if the price is right. If someone raises and the price is just about right. Don't expect to win a ton here if you call, but I do think I have to just about call there. Flop's pretty decent for our hand. He checks and I will just check this one down. Okay, we opened ace-10. This is not a good board for our range. But now that he checked behind, I'm going to bet big. And can we get called by anything worse here on the left? I just don't think so. Not much. There are no weaker aces, and I don't think I mean, he might call pocket nines or so once. I mean, on the river there is only one, so maybe I should have. but he probably would have folded king 10 anyway. Here, pocket fours, let's go for a 3-bet. I'm quite aggressive with these small pairs in position. This is something I like doing, especially here at the low stakes, because players are so nitty in this pool that we do get a lot of folds, and players don't 4-bet enough, which means that we get to realize a lot of equity. And now we're going to start with a range bet. And we don't even need to double barrel it, that's what I meant. Players are just very fit or fold, very nitty. They might call too wide pre-flop, but then they will have so much junk in their range that a simple small c-bet, range bet, will often do it. Ace 10 off again. Let's go for another raise. Unfortunately, getting 3-bet quite early, so this is a fold. Ace queen off. If he raises, I will 3-bet. Blind versus blind. But he just folds. Okay. King 10 suited. Okay, I was gonna say this could be one to 3-bet, but obviously not gonna cold 4-bet it. Jack 4 suited is a fold. Pocket jacks on the button. Interesting hand. Going to raise it. Getting called by the small blind. And a really big 3-bet squeeze. And I don't normally like to jam here, but I think I will have to do it in this case. Here we are going to go big, going to jam my pocket jacks. Of course, he could have queens through aces, but hey, here we have. We can check. Yeah, he did fold there. So I just thought he made it just so big that's just not great. And here, I think I'm gonna check, expecting to lose to a king quite a bit because he called my 3/4 bet on the flop, and I didn't really have time to think it through, but I think I would have had to bet very big to get him off a king. So I prefer to take my showdown value, although probably I didn't have a lot of it, but as I said, I didn't really have the time to think it through because I was concerned about what was happening. Here on the right table, 10-9 off, just about a raise. Okay, now we have two hands that we might be able to play. Definitely calling King Jack, even though he made it 3x. This is a decent flop for our hand. King Queen off, I will now fold. Okay, here I'm going to go for the check raise now with my top 2 pair because the king is just such a good card for him that I wouldn't want to bet a lot, and this is exactly what I expected to happen here. I am going to go quite big as well because he's quite inelastic. If he doesn't have anything, then he'll fold anyway, which is exactly what's probably happening. And if he has a king, he will never fold that. So that's why I went quite big there. If he has ace, king, king, queen, or any hand like that, I would have loved to see him call there, and then I would have gone really big on the river as well. But sadly, he didn't have anything, but we still maximized, because if I had bet, I would have had to bet really big there, and I don't think that would have really accomplished anything. Here on the left, speaking of accomplishing, I don't think a bet accomplishes that much. On the right, I can go with the range bet. Here, I'm definitely going to call against the less than third pot bet, and not loving this at all because what's happening now is that he bet quite big, and I have a bluff catcher. And I mean, he seems to be a bit aggressive. He could definitely have an ace. This is a tricky one, but I think because he's shaping up to be quite aggressive, 71-43 over 7 hands, he could have a missed flush draw. He could be doing it with anything. I will just call. And wow, he had ace 3 there for the full house. But that's basically what he was wrapping, kind of like either a flush or a house. And that was the reason why I actually called, because I thought there are not many hands that he can have there, because I don't think he would bet that big with an ace. And so he was saying he had the flush draw, the flush or the um, boat, and he did have it this time. And that's why I often say bluff catchers just fold them against a big river bet at low stakes, because players just don't bluff enough. However, because he was shaping up to be a bit aggressive, I talked myself into calling, and I lost. So pocket tens will be some sort of continue. If everyone else folds, then we can either call or raise. I think I'm just gonna call this time. Okay, here we are going to 3-bet ace queen. No reason to bet on the left. So 8, 9 jacks, not great for me. I am going to c-bet it though. And here we are going to check. Okay, so we do have a straight. We're losing to king queen. So I think we can actually get him to call with a set or 2 pair. Okay, everything bricks, and so now we're going for the jam. Here on this table, I'm going to go for the c-bet. Yeah, I'm going for the jam. I'm only losing to king queen, which is unlikely, and we're chopping anyway, so that is okay. Getting a fold on the left, which I'm not unhappy about, because I most likely folded out some overcards that were live against my hand. King 10, wow, king 10 suited on both boards. Getting 3-bet by the small blind. He's only making it 8, so this is a close one. I am gonna call now. We have position. He now bets small. I'm going to call with a backdoor. Nah, I have a gut shot, and I'm gonna turn this one into a bluff. So if he bets, if he checks, sorry, I'm going to bet it and then shove the river. If he bets himself, I will have to see. He does bet it himself, which is not great. King jack off, I will have to fold. It took ages. I don't really know what to make of it, but he's betting quite big, which I think, well, I might be able to get him off, but I think because he bets so big, I will have to fold. So this is the thing, like I called the flop because I had position, I had backdoors, and I thought he might be range betting it because he bet small. But once he follows it up with that big bet one when the flush came in, me not having a blocker to the flush, then I don't really want to put in a lot of money into that pot. So ace queen off. We get called by 2 players. And Mirror Monkey in the middle, definitely going to check this one. So you might want to bet it, and it's not the worst idea in the world to bet it, but I just think the players could make mistakes, and now I prefer to overbet this one at this point because weak aces can still call, but unfortunately we're getting folds all round. A deuce suited, definitely not gonna call. And here on the right, we're just winning the pot with jack high. Excellent. Can't continue with the jack 8 off after a raise. Okay, some not so playable hands, including the 7 deuce offsuit. Definitely folding. Queen 9 off, we can open in the small blind. We get called. And this is definitely one I will c-bet. C-bet small. And unfortunately we get raised, which is not great. So I will just have to give up with my queen high. King 7 suited. Let's just raise this one. King Queen suited. Definitely raising. Here we're getting called. King 7. I'm going to check. Here. Gonna call my King Queen. Definitely not gonna fold. Bets pot, which is interesting. Definitely gonna call this one. Check. He does check, so let me check behind. And now I can actually go for the big bet on this one. He bets pot now, which is quite big. I still have top pair, but the thing is, I will have to call once, and now we have 2. And because the board changes, I am going to donk out. I have top 2. Here I will have to fold, and here I'm going to bet 19. Oh, he does have the flush. So basically, okay, yeah, he had the flush draw all along, and in the end he got there, and we lost even more. But our flop and turn calls were right, and then we got unlucky on the river. Unlucky twice, because not only did he make his flush, but also we made top 2 pair. And that made me lose even more, because otherwise if the flush comes in with a different flush card, I will just fold. I will check fold that river. But he was afraid there, he didn't even raise my 40% pot bet. But fair enough. Ace-8 off. It's just a tiny bit too weak to open in this high rake environment, even though I assume that I would have an edge over most of these players. Okay, getting called in quite a few spots, and especially against the short stack now. I have to check, but monkey in the middle, I would check anyway. This guy limped. Okay. And not much I can do. Here I will have to fold now. And we have the jack on the river. Definitely gonna go for a small bet here. He might have pocket 7s or so that he could look me up with. But we just get the fold, which is fine. Okay, ace 3 suited is an open on any position at 6 max. Unfortunately, we're getting 3 bet, and there is a cold call, and we're not deep enough to actually make this one a viable 4 bet, so I will have to fold. But I'm watching the hand because I want to see what hands these guys show up with. Okay, ace queen. We're getting 3-bet by someone who's shaping up to be a bit on the aggressive side. In the small blind though, which means normally these are a bit under bluffed. However, we are under the gun. We have ace queen off. I don't really want to call there, but I either fold or 4-bet. And now we have a 4-bet pot. We're super deep, and we are going to bet this one for quarter pot with our top pair, top kicker. Still losing to jacks, queens, queen, jack, aces, kings. He calls there, and because I don't think we can get a lot of value, we can't go for 3 streets of value, I am going to check this one. And the king is actually pretty bad. King, I mean, it's good for our range, but it is pretty bad. And when he makes it so small, I have an easy call, unless I do want to. I will have to fold here on the left and on the right. I will just call this one and we split again. I was thinking of potentially jamming as a bluff, but I was thinking I don't know how many hands I can get off there. Like, yeah, his hand might have folded, his exact hand, and then we wouldn't have chopped. But I think any king will probably still call, especially because it's either ace king or it's 2-pair. And I was expecting him pretty much. I kind of felt like he had the ace queen there, though I'm not a big fan of soul reading. But just there weren't many hands that he could bet small there, because everything else is basically 2-pair or better, or ace king maybe. Maybe he would have bet ace king like that. On the left, we can go, even though we don't have much, but we have position. It's unlikely that any of them has much, and they do indeed fold both, which is great. Ace jack, we can open. King deuce, definitely a fold, and we get called by the small blind. And this board should not hit the small blind calling range a lot. I expect, well, that said, he now bets pretty big, but I am still going to raise him. And if he calls, I will bet big on the turn, but he now 3-bets me, so there is not much I can do except fold. Here on the right we have pretty good hand. If he doesn't have a pair, we will most likely win, so... Well, he does have a pair. Maybe I could have gotten him off that one, but I still thought I had enough showdown value to just call there. Ace jack. It's another one that we can raise. And we get 3-bet again. I will give up this time. I was under the gun. Cut off 3-bet me. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Jack 10 suited in the big blind. This is a hand that we could squeeze with. However, now that we have a call in there and he made it 3x, I will just call behind. And that's excellent because we flop the nuts. And there is a lot of action here, so if someone has a set, they will call. which is why I want to go pretty big here. Can I get... A set will never fold here, will it? So if I jam, even though we're super deep, I might exploitatively just jam with the nuts. Oh, unfortunately, he had the same hand. So, no chance. Okay, well, sadly we lost quite a bit here to the rake. Sorry, I need to check this one. I forgot about it. King, queen, I will just... Well, no, I will check it. He bets now. I will call the small one. And here on the right, I will just try to check it down. Which doesn't happen. He bets again now. I need to call. He has a very, very wide range. And he now makes it 5. Do I want to raise? I think I'd want to raise this one, because he could have weaker 2-pair. Weaker 2-pair. He could have a king, king, queen, king 10 for the weaker 2-pair, king 9 that he might call. But unfortunately he folds. On the right, I went for the overbet because I think I can get a lot of hands like king, jack, for example, to fold there. Unfortunately, we got called, and once he calls this overbet, I don't think we're in that great of a shape. So I will check, and this is not a good run out now. Basically, there's no way we can win this pot at showdown, but can we get him off? We can't get him off a 10. I don't think, even with an overbet, I don't think we can get him off anything. So I will just check. And actually we split. Wow, he had the open ender. That's the one hand that he would have folded probably. Okay, on the left, just going to bet. I can get jack highs, queen highs, maybe king highs to fold. Now I can go big, and now I still think that I can get him to fold a lot of hands when I overbet. And I still have 2 overcards, so if he does call here with, say, pocket 5s or 5-4 or a7, then I still have some outs, but he does fold. Queen 3, I mean, this is actually a horrible hand, but because he just made 2x, I will just raise him and we get the fold. Yeah, the red line will be interesting to see. I think I made some good red line decisions. However, I think I also folded in big pots. So I'm not sure what it looks like. We'll have a look at it a bit later. So just marking this guy as a non-crusher. Okay, we got a call on the button by a fairly tight player by the looks of it. And big blind is tanking. Okay, so definitely gonna start with a check against this tight player who now bets half pot. Nothing else to do than to call with second pair and a backdoor or 2 backdoors. Gonna call again probably for half pot. Yeah. Gonna call this again. And now the thing is we have 2 pair, and I am just going to just bet for value here, because I don't think he has a very strong hand. But if he has a hand like ace queen, or even some slow played kings or aces or something like that. Also, he will put me on ace king now probably, so he just folded, unfortunately. Okay, here I am going to go for the bet with the gut shot and my 6 high. Pocket jacks. Okay, there's a big raise under the gun, but we will obviously still 3-bet pocket jacks. In the hijack position, there is not a single hand that would just flat call. Okay, so we can just go for a range bet. Here I will just check. And now on the left, gonna check again. And on the right, I am going to check. And now I'm gonna go for a fairly big bet here. Okay, so he bets pot. When he bets pot, he's saying that he has at least a good king, or he has some missed stuff, and he is very passive. So I need to be good 33%, 35% time with the rake, or 35% of the time, and I don't think I will be good because, like, what bluffs does he have? Especially because I block the jacks, because otherwise I would have said maybe jack 10. I mean, I didn't filter a lot, but I still think I will give this one a miss. Just because he was such a tight player as well. And when such a tight and passive player comes out blasting a river, I prefer to overfold. It was a close one. I think that it's not a disaster to call, but I just went the lower variance route. Okay, so this is, I think, the same player now, and he's going to 3, which is like really a bit ridiculous. We're gonna make it 16 as a 4-bet from under the gun, even though I only have ace-10 off. In live poker, when someone min clicks it, then it's usually indicative of a big hand. In online poker, what I have found is sometimes it can be the same, but more often than not, it's actually just some weakish hands, and it's just because the preset button for the raise would just be the min click, and that's why they click it rather than really wanting to min raise it. All they want to do is to raise, but not necessarily to min raise. And when I then tell them that I have a really good hand by 4-betting, then they will either probably just 5-bet if they have a really big hand, and if not, they will probably fold. And if they call, then I also have to be careful. And here we had a cold caller, which is not great. But now I am going to bet this one, the delayed c-bet. And he calls. Can we get him to fold a pocket pair? It's definitely not one that's bigger than this. I think I have to give up. It was actually a stupid bet in the first place on the turn. I really made a mistake. Should not have bet there. But we do win. Look, actually I did get called by worse. By ace-5 of hearts. Very interesting. But normally I shouldn't. I don't know why I bet there. It it didn't really accomplish much. Like in this exact scenario, we did get called by worse, but I still think it was a mistake. I have to own up to it, and I don't want to be results oriented. So only because it went well this time, it doesn't mean that it was a good bet. But basically, what did I hope to fold out? Something like ace queen or so, and or ace king, but those are not many combinations, especially because I block the ace. And I just think that when players cold call a 3-bet, it usually means that, or not usually, but I would say more than 60% of the time, it will be some sort of a pocket pair. And I don't think it'll be twos or threes, so if it's higher, it's either a set, or if it's not a set, it's even an overpair, like pocket tens or so, and I don't think he would ever fold that on the turn to 1/2 pot bet. Okay, pocket aces, haven't seen them in a while. And do we get folds like we usually do? Come on, charm. Well, charm just called. We're quite deep here, almost 200 big blinds, and he's telling me he's got some sort of a hand, and now I'm just going to raise him, because if he has a draw or a jack, he will call. Now, if he has the draw, that is not great, but at this point, I am still gonna go for some value. Actually, no, I'm not gonna go for some value, because I don't think I can get two streets, which means that I can either bluff catch now, or I can raise him if he bets small, or I can bet myself if he doesn't. So he bet kind of small. This is a bit tricky now. Do we just call? Do we raise? I'm just gonna chicken out because we're so deep as well, and he could have two pair. So I'm gonna call, but he did have the jack. This kind of annoying because I wanted to raise, but the problem is if you raise there, as I said, he could have two pairs, so I could value on myself. And a hand like Queen Jack, yes, it might call a raise, but it might not call a raise. And so I think it was very close, as I said. But unfortunately, he did have the hand that I wanted him to have, and it would have been nice to get some more value out of him. Ace Jack, I will have to fold. Pocket Kings, I will 3-bet. And we get the call. And I think I want to check raise this one, because I think Pool makes more mistakes against the check than against the bet. He didn't take the bait, so what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go big for lost value. Hands like tens, jacks, jack, queen jack, 10-9, they could all call, but unfortunately he doesn't seem to have anything. Okay, pocket deuces in the big blind. Okay, we're getting 3-bet, I'll have to fold. And pocket deuces is just like really not a great hand, but I do have to call. And if he bets now, I'm going to check raise this one. Right, so this is really not a great board from my range. Okay, now I have to check. I can go for an overbet, and now on this river I will just check again. Okay, ace jack, he did have the jack, okay. Right, now I can't get him off any pocket pair, and I win against anything that's not a flush or a pocket pair, or obviously another pair that he hit. But he did have pocket sevens. Okay, well, that's fine. I had a lot of equity in that hand, so I barreled with very good equity, because also the ace and the king were outs, but unfortunately we did not get there. Hey, king 8, have to fold again. Okay, some more useless hands. I'm gonna fold the 9-7 off. 5-4 suited, we're going to raise. Okay, I'm gonna play one more orbit. So going to check. And he overbets this one. There is no reason to overbet, buddy. Why would you overbet this? This is really weird, but the thing is, do I want to go on a... I think I do have to actually call there, because I had the back doors with the second pair, and now he overbets again, which is like really... I mean, we have loads. We have 8 and 5, that's 13, that's 26%. And I do have to call. I am getting the right odds there. And unfortunately, it bricks out, and now I will have to fold. But it's just so weird. Why would he do that? Why on earth would he do that? Obviously, I have a fold now, but that was weird. But if he had a big hand, then I don't even mind calling there, because I think I could have donked the river if I had made the straight or two pair. Although who knows if two pair would even be good. He might have a set or a better two pair. But I still think it was the right thing to call there, even though he made it so big. But you can't be result oriented. You can't say I don't want to risk so much money. If you're getting the odds, you're getting the odds, and then you have to call. Okay, so we're going to isolate this limper. Come on, Fetterfeld. Okay, this is a good board from my range. And we got a snap fold. Yeah, so it's a shame that I lost so much with that one hand towards the end, because I was at around 240 big blinds. Now I'm just at 185, but that's poker. And we are done. Let's see how we did today. Actually, this one's better to have a look. Okay, so pretty good in everything. We ran pretty well. Red line was pretty good, so quite happy with this. So I think I'll make this the start of my challenge, and see you next time. Thank you, bye.